introduce myself?
Sure,
Okay.
go ahead.
Hi Aisha, thank you for having me on the show. My name is Rui Yong. I'm a Team Singapore marathon runner. I've represented Singapore in 2 Southeast Asian Games in 2015 and 2017.
Awesome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, it's good to have you here. Congratulations on your recent gold medal.
Thank you.
How did it feel winning the second gold medal?
The Southeast Asian Games?
Yeah.
Well, I would say it's cliche, but the first time is always the best time. Like going into the SEA Games 2 years ago, and I was like really just the novice, the underdog. I only had 1 marathon under my belt going to the SEA Games. So 2 years ago was definitely like the big surprise when I won the Southeast Asian Games.
Yeah.
And this time was a lot of a different experience because I was going in as the defending champion, but not the favorite because like I had improved in the last 2 years, but like 3 of my competitors had improved even more and they were even faster than I was, like going on the starting line. So it's like, you know, I was like scratching my head, like how did I go from defending champion and improving to being like not even a favorite for the medal. Like I was ranked number 4 going into this year's SEA Games marathon.
Wow. But leading up to the games, were you pressurized by the fact that you were a champion and you had to defend your title?
I think pressure, most of pressure is probably self-inflicted. People ask me whether I felt pressure. I was like, no, I didn't really feel pressured in a negative way. I felt pressure in a positive way where people were watching my race and people were excited because like it was, especially for the Singapore running scene, it was the first time that we had, I mean before 2013 we never had even one marathon gold medal on the men's side. I think Jayamani was the only lady who won something on the women's side. But in 2013, Mong Yiren won our first gold medal. In 2015, I won our second gold medal. And 2017, we were both on the team headed up to KL to try and get the gold medals. And the marathon was the first event, so there was a lot of pressure. I was like, all right, if we don't win a medal here, we're probably going to go home. The whole team is going to go home empty-handed. So yeah, I stepped up, and I stepped up to the plate where there was a lot of people watching this. Like there was a lot of pressure going in. There was like Rui Young, you have to win. Like you have to bring home the gold medal for us. You're defending champion. Like you're only home, that kind of thing. But I think you can look at it 2 ways. You can look at it as like, oh, one, like you feel that you're scared to fail now, that because you don't let so many people down. Or B, you can actually like pause, take a moment, and take it all in and say, wow, what I'm doing is actually something that's pretty cool, and it means a lot to these people who are watching me. Yes, it's pressure that they are watching me, but it also means that what I'm doing is important. What I'm doing is like, can make a difference in people's lives, and in my own small way, make a difference in the lives of other people and the world as well. So yeah, it was exciting to be part of something that interesting. Something that exciting rather. So yeah, I just like did my best, trained for it. Took 3 months of no pay leave to make sure I was in the best shape I could, and went off to train in the States. And when I came back, I was in the shape of my life, and thankfully that was enough to get a gold medal again.
Yeah. So how did this whole marathon thing begin?
I actually my big sources of inspiration for road running is my mom and my dad, because when I was in secondary 1, I was drafted into the cross country team, and my mom had not like run a race for like 25 years ever since she graduated from Raffles Institution at the age of 18. Like she was cross country captain at the age of 18 for her junior college. But once she graduated and went to uni, like she just like focused on uni, and like I'm sure she was active and played sports, but not so much competitive running anymore. But when I was drafted in the cross country team, she started to like she would come with me to training, and then while I'm training, she wouldn't just stand around. She would like go for her own run around MacRitchie or whatever. So she started to get into shape again. And because of her, my dad got interested in it, and then to keep her company on the weekends and while I'm at training, my dad and mom would both go for runs together. They were basically pretty good recreational runners. Like they were able to run about 5 minutes, 5:20 per kilometer for 21 kilometers. And yeah, after that I always thought they were crazy. I was doing cross country and I was racing 4 or 5K, and I found it so tiring. I was like, how the heck do you go and like race 20K, 21K? But that got me interested. That was the first time I heard about the Standard Chartered marathon, because of my parents taking part in it. And then eventually I just like that just got my my thoughts flowing about doing a road race someday. And eventually I made my marathon debut at the age of 23. So like a good 10 years after my mom ran her first Standard Chartered half marathon, I ran my first marathon. And it was only 13 years after her first Standard Chartered half that I ran my first Standard Chartered marathon, which was this past weekend.
Wow!
So it's been quite a journey, and I have my mom and dad to thank for starting the journey. Of course, like many things happen along the way as well.
Yeah. So how did you become a national athlete?
Well, I didn't really do anything different really. I just kept doing what I was doing, and every year I got a little bit better. For track and field, it's slightly different from team sports where you're picked to join the national team. Track and field is simply you compete as an individual and you post your marks, like you post your times, you post your distances, you post your heights if you're a high jumper, and there comes a point where they're looking for people to form the national team to go to the SEA Games or go to the Thailand Open or whatever. So the national team is really like put together before the SEA Games and dispensed immediately after, which I don't think is. I think there are better ways to do it. I think we can have a national training squad to get together and like push each other to improve, but that's for Singapore athletics to figure out.
Yeah, but for the viewers out there who want to know how to get into the national team, for example, so the way is to go join all these races.
I'll say train find a training group. Now there's the Active SG Athletics Club, so that provides like very affordable
so there's a lot of
coaching.
opportunities out there.
Like Stephen Quack is probably one of our best distance coaches in Singapore. He's got good knowledge and inculcates good values through sport. So he takes care of the distance runners. Melvin Tan takes care of the sprints programs. Katrina takes care of the sprints and jumps and the kids.
But you don't have to be part of the school team, right? You can just join this as an outside club, is that right?
Yeah, it's open to anyone and everyone.
Yeah, that's good.
And like I genuinely believe that athletics helps in the development of kids. Parents are very, very focused on performance in the classroom, but participating in a sport like athletics helps to teach the kids values that they cannot learn in the classroom. And I definitely believe I became a more patient, more perseverant, more resilient person through sports. I became more confident through sports, and it would be very different if I just sat in the classroom and learned through my whole life. So I definitely became more well-rounded, and I have my sport to thank for that. And you meet friends through sports. You meet mentors through sport. Like I'm sure you wouldn't have been the same person you are if not for your sport. I wouldn't have been the same person I am without my sport. Sometimes you have life-changing moments through sport. I know many people who found their future spouses through the sport because of your common interests and your common values. So it's definitely something that that parents should encourage their kids to do. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Sports change lives.
Exactly. So Active SG Athletics Program. There's something that, and not just at the Active SG, but there are private groups out there. There's like Coach Fabian Williams, like Fabian Williams Coaching Classes has a group. Coach Jack Singh has a group. There's just so many groups, private teams out there that you can join. And then there's, of course there's the big Active SG, which is the government arm for track and community. So
which makes me think how people say you got to wait for a sign or wait for things to happen, but actually no, you just got to go out there and find these opportunities, right? Take the initiative.
I'm not a big fan of waiting around for things to happen. It doesn't really happen.
I don't think athletes like to wait around for things to happen.
You have to create your own chances. I would say if you keep knocking on the door, you keep giving yourself opportunities by going out there, training and competing. You may not get it in your first race, you may not get it in your second race. For some people, it might take longer than others. But eventually, there comes a day where it all comes together in your training, and your years or months of training start to come together, and you have a day where everything is right. The weather, like your body, how you're feeling, the competition, and that brings out the best performance in yourself. I think the biggest thing is, yes, people believe in you, but the biggest thing is when you have a breakthrough performance, you know that it's possible for yourself to compete at that level. You know it's possible for yourself to be the best in the country or the best in the region or the best in the world. And then you start to, because you are confident, you see that vision of yourself now, you put more effort into sustaining your lifestyle and your training and your competing mindset that allows you to achieve that vision.
So you did mention that after you perform well, you get recognized and things get easier. But of course, we all know that an athlete's journey is not as easy as they think. So what is the biggest challenge you as a marathoner face?
Well, in the marathoner's journey is, simply the nature of the event is a very long, grueling, painful event. So naturally in training you have to be ready to run long, you have to be able to grind, and you have to be ready to endure like long mornings under the sun, like running your 32 kilometer, 35, 40 kilometer long run.
Wow.
Yeah, some days you are, but
you guys are just crazy.
and as I work a full-time job as well. I work here with
Yeah.
Sports Singapore in Coach SG's coaching development department. So my office hours are 9 to 6. So I get up in the morning, I have to do my 16 kilometer or 18 kilometer run first thing in the morning, and then go to the work, go to my office. And then there I'm in the office from 9 to 6. I try to take a nap at lunchtime. In the evening I go for another 6 to 10 kilometers depending on what my schedule is, and then have a good dinner and go home. And once a week I have to squeeze in a gym session. So it's really hard to run, work, gym, and then run again, because before you know it, it's like dark and whatever outside. But if you want it bad enough, you find a way to make it work. And so yeah, it never gets easy. It doesn't really get all that much easier, but you get used to it. And when you get used to it, you get used to the discomfort, and your body gets fitter. I would say the biggest thing is that it doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. And when your body's stronger, like your perceived effort for everything becomes a little bit lower. And you start to enjoy it, you start to enjoy being in shape.
But usually after a big run, how long the rest for?
After a marathon, I rest for 1 to 2 weeks.
Oh wow, nothing at all.
Yeah, nothing at all for 1 to 2 weeks.
Not even jogging.
Not even jogging, no.
So what's the best advice you've ever received?
Best advice I ever received, always look into the future. Like ask yourself, in 5-10 years time, where do I want to be with my life? Because that helps you with the big picture. You start to narrow down to the smaller details. And actually, I believe I heard this from Sports Singapore CEO Lim Teck In. Like he just spoke to me, and he told me, like, where do you see yourself 5-10 years down the road? And like with that long-term vision in mind, like that guides what you are doing on a day-to-day basis. Because he told me, he broke the hard truth to me that my sports career is not going to last forever. He's like, that this is a very short time of your life where you will be enjoying this and yes, you'll be doing well in it, but you're not going to be able to do this for the rest of your life. So you want to carry over skills that you picked up in sports that help you excel after you're done in sports. You don't want to be just like put everything to sport, and once it's done, like you're lost to what to do with the rest of your life, because you still have the rest of your life to live. So yeah, end of the day, sports is important. It seems like to do well in it, it has to be the center of our life. It has to be the center of our focus. But really, in the grand scheme of the world and things, like we're just small beings like on this world. So I think whenever we're down about our sport, whenever we are discouraged, just remember what we're doing is, yes, it's important, but in the grand scheme of things, it's still relatively insignificant to some of the problems that the world has. So never get too down, and never get overly arrogant, I would say, but never get too disappointed as well. It helps me keep a level head whenever I think about the whole perspective.
Exactly, Wow, that's good advice. I feel that I'm so lucky to be sitting here and hearing all the best advice from the best athletes. It's like a bit of cheating. But I get to share it with people as well. Okay, so I do have current athletes who approach me and ask me how do I get my sponsors? But I feel that different athletes have different ways on how they get partnerships with companies and individuals. So what's your story with your sponsors?
So the two brands that I work most closely with as of now are my shoes and apparel company Asics, as well as my hydration drink company H20. I'm very lucky to be working with these two brands. Asics is a Japanese brand, so that the whole Asian identity right there, and H20, even better, is a Singaporean brand. So it's really nice to have a Singaporean brand supporting a Singaporean athlete. I got linked up with H20 because I heard that they were looking for a sports ambassador for their drink company, for their brand. And fortunately enough, that was when I was about to graduate from school, and I needed to find sponsors to fund the whole athlete journey anyway. So that's when I came in touch with them and started. So
it's you going out there and approaching them.
Yeah. So the sports sponsorship industry in Singapore is still not as developed as it would be, as it might be in the US or some other parts of the world. But I think having studied in the US and seen how it works there gave me a bit of insight on this as well. Because even in the US, like athletes have to stand out in order to be sponsored.
Correct, yeah,
Athletes
it's
have
very
to be
hard
the one,
to get sponsors.
So athletes have to be the ones going up to people and speaking to, like making connections, like speaking to brands and convincing them why, because all this is marketing. Like when a brand comes out and gives you a sponsorship, a cash sponsorship, this is under their marketing budget. So you have to convince them why, like, you know, putting this $20,000 into you, for example, or $30,000 into you is more worthwhile than, you know, slapping advertisements like all around, like MRT stations and bus stations and whatever. Personally, I feel that sports is one of the most undertapped and most powerful vehicles for marketing in Singapore, simply because, you know, sports has that aura around our athletes. You know, when an athlete wins a medal for Singapore, the amount of pride, the amount of like glory it sparks among Singaporeans, that's a very, very powerful marketing tool if your brand is associated with the athlete. Because an athlete, I believe the most powerful form of marketing is when the consumer doesn't know that it's a form of advertising. It doesn't know that it's advertising. Like, you know, like if I go up to you and say, oh, buy this is awesome, and I'm so in your face. It's less likely that you will buy it as compared to, like, you know, like you see perhaps like you see an athlete winning the race, and then you see an athlete like
actually using the product, correct.
After or the athlete like endorses the product. So someone telling you that this product is good is always a lot better than the product telling you that it is good. Or like, you know, like if I go out and I tell people that you're good, it's more effective than you going out there and telling people that you are good. It's just how psychology works, right? Just how people work. So yeah, I would say, you know, for sports, for brands to like have strong marketing projects, like, you know, I encourage them to look into sports because there's a lot of untapped, a lot of like beautiful athlete stories out there that are waiting to be told, and that's where the athletes have to take the initiative to, you know, tell their own stories and stand out. Which is kind of tricky in Singapore because we are brought up to, you know, like be humble, don't talk, don't tell people that you're good. Just go out there. Like the one most cliched and most overused phrase I hear is just let your legs do the talking. Like it's like just let your legs do, like dude, it's not as simple, right? It's not as simple. I mean, I would say people in Singapore have a little bit of a misconception of what constitutes being humble. Like I believe being humble means knowing what you can do to make yourself better, and like being humble enough to accept, like to read up on training advice, to read up on sports science, being humble enough to seek help from people that you trust and people who you know that can make you better, and then being humble enough to go out there and put in the time and effort, and like believe, and you have to know that, you know, if you don't put in the time and effort and the energy, you're not going to get as good as like your opponents are. So that's being humble, like knowing what you have to do better, and actually going out there and doing it. Being humble is not like don't talk at all. If you don't talk at all, like no one's gonna know your story, and no one's gonna know your story. Like why would I want to sponsor you if you're not gonna talk at all? Because you're not gonna be able to promote my brand or my product. So I'm not as a brand, I'm not here to give charity money away. I'm here to, like, if I spend $20,000 on you, I hope that through your journey you can inspire at least $20,000 of sales or more, and that's when my investment in you is worthwhile. So I believe that, you know, athletes can take a little bit more ownership in marketing their image. The smart use of social media, smart use of smart like engaging creation of websites. I really hope that more and more brands can pay attention to sports and see this as a way to, you know, it's their way of like it's their way that they can give back to community and like provide help build a national identity as well, because there's nothing more powerful than sports people winning medals for the nation to really like rally the nation and like glorify Singapore together.
For sure.
So like brands can do a great role in like helping this.
Nice. Alright, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions that you want to ask us, so I will put your social media accounts in my description.
So it's @runsoFast, RUNSOHFAST.
Yeah, and if you have any feedback or comments about the show, you can leave them in the comment section below. And thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.